Welcome back to the Comstock channel. My name is Brianne Hendrickson. Today I have the CEO of Summit Carbon Solutions, Lee Blank, with us. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Brianne. I appreciate it.
Thanks for being on. We go live this week, December 14th at 5 p.m. Central Time. Join David and Matthew Cruz as they talk all about the carbon pipeline. They will be taking questions during the live event, but you can also send in your questions beforehand to report@comstock.com. This event will be live on Facebook and YouTube. We hope that you join us. So, as the CEO of Summit Carbon Solutions, could you share a little bit about your personal journey and background and how all of this is helping you in your role as a CEO?
I think the best way to sum that up is my personal journey has been agriculture. I graduated from Iowa State University here in Ames, and so this is a bit of a homecoming for me. But I've had a really diverse background in agriculture, got to see many different pieces of the agricultural value chain. And I think it helps in this particular role, Brian, because quite frankly, there's many stakeholders here. Those stakeholders are all the way from a landowner to a farmer to maybe the finance community to help us with the funding of the project, and also with various equity suppliers that participate with us on this particular project. And I've had those experiences through my past, really all through the agricultural value chain, but all of those experiences all bundled together has given me a unique set of skills to actually attempt this project.
So why don't you tell us about this project and how it works?
Certainly. So Summit Carbon Solutions is really three projects at once, frankly. It's taking the carbon, the CO2 that's emitted off the ethanol industry. It's capturing it. That's phase one. And then it's actually taking that carbon, putting it in a transportation system. That's phase two, transporting it. And then phase three is the actual sequestration of the carbon, where we sequester that CO2, that molecule, approximately 1.5 miles below the Earth's surface, where it stays forever. So it's really a capture, transport, and storage business model. And again, it's not new. This technology has been used for a long time. We're just big. We just have a large footprint, and that's what makes us a little bit different. But in a nutshell, that's what we're doing as a company.
Why ethanol plants?
Ethanol was a really great place to start, and part of the reason for that, Brian, was the fact that they have. It sounds a little. It doesn't sound very intuitive, but they have a clean CO2 stream. Otherwise, a very consistent CO2 emission that comes off of every plant. And the reason for that is they have to follow certain regulatory requirements to clean up their carbon before they are, as they are now, emit it into the atmosphere. So the carbon is what we like to call clean, it's pure, and it's very consistent, what makes it a very good source of carbon to get to actually verify the molecule, because again, it's clean and consistent. And when we actually sequester that molecule, it gives us a very good value for the credit. The credit's very transparent because it's a consistent molecule, it's a clean molecule, it's measured, and it all comes off the same type of emission stream, the ethanol industry. So again, not all emitters have that same consistent, transparent molecule of CO2. That's why the ethanol industry works so well and such a great place to start for Summit Carbon.
So what are the benefits of the project to Iowans and Iowa farmers? Because you're located, that's where this project is being held, pretty much.
Well, it's a 5-state project, but a lot of the ethanol industry is in the state of Iowa, so it's a big part of it. It's important because really, Brian, over time, agriculture has gone through step changes. Better genetics in seed, Roundup Ready soybeans. The ethanol industry itself was a step change. It's the largest consumptive market for our largest commodity crop, the corn crop in the United States. So the reason the project's important is because it needs to happen to help agriculture make that next step change, take that next step forward. And that next step forward is hitting low carbon fuel markets that we can't hit under our current emission structure as an industry. So by lowering that carbon intensity on the ethanol industry, just like any other market, just like trying to export corn to a certain part of the world, and you have to hit a certain specification, right? Well, we're trying to put the ethanol industry to meet a new specification for fuel that allows them to gain a higher premium for that fuel. That those additional economics then flow back to the ethanol industry, which in turn will flow back to the Iowa farmer and really all of the farmers across our 5-state footprint.
Where are you kind of at in this process?
I think the best way to summarize it or to characterize it is really we're in the permitting process. So we bought a lot of right of way. We've negotiated with almost 75% of all landowners on our project footprint. We have gone through our permit hearings in the state of Iowa, and we'll be waiting for the ruling on those hearings in the first quarter of next year. We're in the permit hearing process in North Dakota, and then in South Dakota, we actually are going to have to refile our permit in the state of South Dakota, which we will do in the first quarter of next year as well. So we're really in that permitting stage. It's a very important stage for the company because, again, without the permits, you have no right to build or no opportunity to build. So, it's been approximately a year and a half of process, and which we won't complete, for another 6 to 8 months, possibly 12 months. We don't necessarily control the schedule, and so it's a long process. And we're in the let's call it, we're on the 30-yard line, hoping to get to the goal line here very soon.
What needs to be done for this project to really just go through?
Yeah, I think really that the permits are it. We really believe that getting the construction permits, the sequestration permits to actually sequester the carbon, and then we also have a USAC permit, which is what we need for to cross. It's a federal permit. We need to cross the river with the Missouri River. So we need the permits for the project. Frankly, Rand, there's a lot of funding interest in this project. So it's not about whether we believe we can, it's a lot of money. It's not about whether we believe we can raise the money, because we do believe we can. And frankly, we've already raised over $1 billion towards this project. So it's always a question of the cost of the money, right? But the actual raising of the capital is not what I think stops the project. We have to be very conscious that I believe once you have permits, and once the permitting process is complete, we have a very viable project that will get built.
What are some of the regulatory hurdles? You've hit them, but what kind of is at stake there?
The hurdles really are, again, with the utility commissions and the various regulatory agencies that we need to work through. Again, it's for a project of this size, they just don't hand you a building permit. You have to do a lot of work, and there's a lot of stakeholders. And those stakeholders are anywhere from the county level all the way up to the federal level. And so the hurdles really are working through all of those various stakeholders, getting the appropriate approvals at each one of those levels so that you can move the project forward. I think it's really a interesting thing to think about. What it means to the stakeholder. When I think about the landowner itself, many infrastructure projects happen, like natural gas pipelines or various things, and they really don't necessarily benefit those that are affected by the project. That's what's different about our project. Our project is actually affecting landowners that will have a direct benefit, if you're a corn farmer, from the project itself. And I think that's a really big distinction that we have to make. So again, I think that's where we find ourselves in a bit of a better position maybe than some others in the past.
Why does this project need to happen?
Yeah, it's for the farm gate. The U.S. farmer needs this project to happen, and the reason it is because, as I mentioned, the ethanol industry is such a large consumptive market for the U.S. corn crop, consuming almost 40% of the crop. And as we see electrical vehicles, and we believe in the combustion engine, we believe it for a long time. Well, it'll be here for quite some time, but ultimately, gas consumption nationally is going down just a bit, and so the ethanol industry is threatened by that reduction because approximately 10% of every gallon of gasoline consumed in the U.S. is ethanol, and so as that consumption drops a little bit, we need to start thinking about what additional markets we can hit to protect that ethanol industry, give it a long runway, give it the ability to be that consumptive market for the U.S. corn farmer, for years to come. That's why it is so important.
All right. Again, thank you so much for being on today, and that'll do it for this episode. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Brianne.
Want more premium content? Subscribe to the Comstock Report, where you will receive 2 reports daily. Want more video content? We are on Facebook, YouTube, and now TikTok. So don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.